What if I told you there's a disease no one can pass to you, but millions suffer from it every day? It's called loneliness, and it's becoming a modern epidemic. Unlike the flu or a cold, it's not viral, not bacterial, yet it quietly affects your brain, your heart, and even your immune system. The impact is real, measurable, and surprisingly dangerous, but the good news is it's something you can take control of. Hi, I'm Dr. Mike, and in this video, we're going to explore the science behind loneliness, why it affects your body and mind, and most importantly, what practical steps you can take to protect yourself and improve your life. You'll learn how loneliness can disrupt your sleep, increase stress hormones, and even rewire your brain for threat. But you'll also discover how small, consistent habits can reverse these effects, build resilience, and strengthen your sense of connection. We'll cover simple strategies grounded in neuroscience and modern health research, from daily micro habits that boost social bonds to lifestyle changes that improve your mood, focus, and overall well-being. By the end of this video, you'll understand not just the dangers of loneliness, but how to transform solitude into strength, connection into empowerment, and small actions into lasting change. So if you've ever felt disconnected, exhausted, or just craving a deeper sense of belonging, stick around, because the insights I share aren't just theory, they're actionable, realistic, and proven to make a difference. Welcome to the Dr. Mike channel, where we combine modern health wisdom with practical personal growth to help you live better, feel stronger, and thrive every day. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a tip that could change your life. Did you know that feeling lonely can actually make your body sick in ways surprisingly similar to chronic illness? Chronic loneliness isn't just an emotional experience. It sets off a cascade of biological reactions that affect your heart, your brain, and even your lifespan. Research shows that when we feel persistently isolated, our bodies release higher levels of stress hormones like cortisol. Over time, this constant stress keeps the immune system on high alert, triggering low-grade inflammation throughout the body. While inflammation is meant to protect us from injury or infection, when it lingers, it starts damaging tissues, blood vessels, and even neurons. This is why studies consistently link chronic loneliness to a higher risk of heart disease. People who report feeling socially disconnected have higher rates of hypertension, cardiovascular events, and even premature death compared to those with strong social bonds. But the impact doesn't stop there. Loneliness also affects the brain. Prolonged stress and inflammation can accelerate cognitive decline, making memory and executive function more vulnerable. Some research even shows that chronic loneliness increases the risk of dementia, independent of other risk factors like genetics or lifestyle. Think of it this way: your mind and body are in constant conversation. When your emotional needs aren't met, your body responds as if it's under threat, triggering physiological changes that accumulate silently over years. For example, someone who moves to a new city and struggles to make friends may notice fatigue, low motivation, or brain fog, not realizing these subtle signals are connected to chronic social stress. The effects are gradual, almost invisible, but over time they can reshape your health trajectory. This is why loneliness is often called a silent killer, because the absence of connection can be just as harmful as the presence of disease. Here's a surprising truth: you can be in a crowded room surrounded by friends or colleagues and still feel completely alone. Loneliness isn't about the number of people around you. It's about the quality of connection and the internal experience of feeling understood and valued. Your brain perceives social connection through meaningful interactions, emotional resonance, and a sense of belonging. If these are missing, the presence of others does little to satisfy that fundamental need. This is where mindset mastery and habit formation become powerful tools. One practical strategy is to shift focus from quantity to quality. Instead of collecting superficial social interactions, intentionally cultivate one or two relationships where you can share openly, listen deeply, and create mutual trust. This can be as simple as setting aside 10 minutes each day for a genuine check-in with a friend or family member, asking how they're really doing, and sharing honestly in return. Another actionable habit is reflective journaling. By writing down your feelings about social interactions, you start to notice patterns, moments when you feel connected versus isolated. This awareness allows you to take deliberate steps to enhance connection and adjust behaviors that may be reinforcing loneliness. Mindset also plays a crucial role. Viewing loneliness as a signal rather than a flaw transforms it into a tool for self-growth. It becomes a cue to reach out, to nurture relationships, or to explore new communities aligned with your values. For example, joining a hobby group or volunteering doesn't just expand your network. It activates purpose and shared experience, which your brain interprets as meaningful social engagement. The key takeaway is that connection starts from the inside. By cultivating awareness, intentional habits, and a mindset oriented toward depth and quality, you can turn the presence of others from a background noise into a source of genuine emotional nourishment. Loneliness doesn't just change how you feel, it actually rewires your brain. When the brain senses chronic social isolation, it shifts into a heightened state of alert, scanning for potential threats even in everyday situations. This hypervigilance can make you anxious, irritable, and emotionally drained, leaving little mental energy for creativity, focus, or joy. Essentially, your brain treats social disconnection like a survival threat, keeping stress hormones high and your nervous system on edge. The good news is that this pattern can be shifted with intentional habits and mindset practices. One practical strategy is mindfulness and grounding techniques. Simple exercises like deep breathing, body scans, or brief moments of reflection during the day help signal to your brain that you're safe and supported. Over time, these practices can reduce hyper-alertness and restore emotional balance. Another key approach is structured social engagement. Just like you train muscles in the gym, your brain's social circuits can be strengthened through consistent, meaningful interaction. Start small. Schedule regular conversations with trusted friends, join interest-based communities, or participate in collaborative projects. The consistency matters more than the size of your social circle. Your brain responds to repeated positive social signals. Cognitive reframing also plays a crucial role. When you notice feelings of hypervigilance or emotional exhaustion, instead of judging yourself for being anxious or withdrawn, view it as a signal from your brain asking for connection and support. Respond with curiosity rather than criticism. Finally, integrating physical activity amplifies the benefits. Exercise not only reduces cortisol and inflammation, but also improves mood and resilience, giving your brain the tools to recalibrate from constant threat detection to calm, focused engagement. By combining mindfulness, intentional social habits, cognitive reframing, and physical activity, you gradually retrain your brain to feel safe, supported, and emotionally energized, even if you've struggled with chronic loneliness for years. Loneliness doesn't just affect your mood or emotional state, it changes how your brain works. Chronic loneliness can reduce focus, impair memory recall, and make decision-making feel more exhausting than it should. When your brain is constantly on high alert for social threats or emotional disconnection, cognitive resources are diverted away from tasks that require attention, problem-solving, and creative thinking. In essence, your mental bandwidth gets hijacked by feelings of isolation, leaving less space for clarity and productivity. The encouraging part is that cognitive decline linked to loneliness can be mitigated through intentional habits and daily practices. One powerful approach is establishing structured routines. Consistent schedules for work, exercise, social interaction, and rest help your brain conserve energy and reduce the mental load of unpredictability. Even small habits like setting aside dedicated time for focused work or using a daily planner can strengthen attention and executive function. Memory and recall can also improve through social and mental stimulation. Engaging in meaningful conversations, learning new skills, or practicing memory exercises keeps neural pathways active and counteracts the cognitive drain of isolation. For example, teaching a skill to a friend or discussing complex topics with a peer can enhance both memory retention and the sense of social connection at the same time. Mindset plays a role as well. Instead of viewing cognitive lapses as a personal failure, see them as cues that your brain is under stress from social and emotional factors. Respond by prioritizing connection, rest, and mental engagement rather than self-criticism. Finally, integrating physical activity and mindfulness amplifies cognitive resilience. Exercise boosts blood flow to the brain and reduces stress hormones, while mindfulness improves focus and reduces mental fatigue. By combining structured routines, mental stimulation, social engagement, and self-care, you can reclaim focus, sharpen memory, and make clearer, more confident decisions, even in the face of loneliness. Loneliness doesn't stop at cognition. It sends ripples through your emotional world. When you feel persistently disconnected, every stressor feels heavier, every setback more discouraging. Chronic loneliness magnifies stress, reduces emotional resilience, and can deepen cycles of sadness or depression. Even small challenges that might normally feel manageable start to feel overwhelming, and the brain begins to interpret neutral events as threats, reinforcing negative emotional patterns. The good news is that you can take intentional steps to break this cycle. One effective strategy is cultivating daily emotional check-ins. Take a few minutes each day to notice how you're feeling, name your emotions, and reflect on what triggered them. This simple habit builds awareness, giving you the opportunity to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Over time, it strengthens your emotional regulation and resilience. Another practical approach is building micro rituals of self-care and connection. This could be a morning walk that gives you space to think, a short call to a trusted friend, or a brief gratitude practice at night. These small, consistent actions signal to your brain that you are supported and safe, which counteracts the stress amplification that loneliness creates. Mindset mastery also plays a key role. Instead of labeling loneliness as a weakness, reframe it as a signal, a prompt to care for your emotional and social well-being. When you see it this way, moments of isolation become opportunities for reflection, growth, and proactive connection rather than triggers for despair. Finally, integrating movement, mindfulness, and restorative routines strengthens your resilience from the inside out. Exercise lowers stress hormones, meditation reduces emotional reactivity, and adequate sleep gives your brain the energy it needs to navigate challenges effectively. By combining awareness, intentional habits, and mindset shifts, you can soften the emotional ripple of loneliness and protect your mental and physical health from its deeper effects. Loneliness and sleep have a surprisingly powerful connection, and it's a two-way street. When you feel socially disconnected, your mind often becomes restless at night. Thoughts of isolation, worry, or self-criticism can make it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. Over time, this poor sleep amplifies the very feelings of loneliness you're trying to overcome, creating a self-reinforcing cycle. Your brain becomes more sensitive to social threats, your mood dips, and your resilience diminishes, leaving you emotionally depleted before the day even begins. The good news is that this cycle can be interrupted with intentional habits and routines. One simple but powerful strategy is to prioritize a consistent sleep schedule. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day signals to your brain that it's safe to rest, which reduces hypervigilance and emotional reactivity. Pairing this with a wind-down routine like turning off screens, practicing deep breathing, or journaling your thoughts can further calm an overactive mind. Another practical habit is integrating social connection into your day, even in small ways. A brief call, a shared meal, or a check-in with a friend can reduce feelings of isolation, which in turn makes it easier to sleep peacefully at night. This isn't about quantity, it's about meaningful interactions that give your brain a sense of belonging and support. Mindset also plays a role. Instead of blaming yourself for restless nights, view them as a signal that your brain and body need care and connection. By responding with intention, through sleep hygiene, small social rituals, and self-compassion, you gradually break the cycle. Finally, don't underestimate the power of movement and exposure to natural light. Morning walks or light exercise improve circadian rhythms, boost mood, and prepare your brain for restorative sleep. With these habits in place, loneliness loses some of its grip and sleep becomes a tool for emotional recovery rather than a casualty of isolation. Exercise isn't just about building muscles or improving endurance. It's also one of the most effective tools for combating loneliness. Physical activity triggers the release of dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemical, which lifts mood and reduces the emotional weight of isolation. But there's more. Movement often provides natural opportunities for social connection, whether it's a quick chat at the gym, joining a fitness class, or participating in a recreational sports league. Even brief interactions can signal to your brain that you're part of a community, which helps break the cycle of chronic loneliness. The key is building habits that make movement consistent and meaningful. Start small. A 15 to 20-minute walk around your neighborhood, a short bodyweight routine at home, or stretching in the morning can be enough to trigger dopamine and boost mental clarity. Over time, these small actions accumulate, improving both physical health and emotional resilience. Another practical approach is to combine exercise with intentional social engagement. Invite a friend for a walk, join a local running or yoga group, or participate in team activities that interest you. The social element doesn't have to be intensive. What matters is repeated, positive interactions that create a sense of belonging. Mindset also plays a role. Instead of seeing exercise as a chore or purely for physical results, frame it as an investment in your mental and social well-being. Recognize that each step, stretch, or movement is a small but powerful signal to your brain that you're actively nurturing your health and connections. Finally, pairing movement with other lifestyle habits like consistent sleep, balanced nutrition, and mindfulness amplifies its benefits. Together, these strategies create a feedback loop. Exercise improves mood and connection, which reduces loneliness, which in turn makes it easier to stay active and engaged. By integrating regular physical activity into your life, you're not just strengthening your body, you're rewiring your brain for connection, resilience, and emotional well-being. Nutrition plays a surprisingly important role in how loneliness affects your body and mind. Chronic feelings of isolation can trigger low-grade inflammation, which impacts the brain, mood, and overall health. The good news is that what you eat can help counteract this effect. Diets rich in anti-inflammatory foods like colorful vegetables, berries, nuts, fatty fish, and whole grains support brain health, balance stress hormones, and even improve emotional resilience. In other words, the foods on your plate can become tools to help your mind feel calmer and your brain function sharper. One practical strategy is to treat meals as small daily rituals for both nourishment and emotional regulation. Start by adding one anti-inflammatory food to each meal, like spinach in your morning omelet, berries in your yogurt, or salmon for dinner. These small, consistent adjustments accumulate over time, reducing inflammation and supporting overall well-being. Another habit to consider is mindful eating. When you eat with attention, noticing flavors, textures, and the way food makes you feel, you not only improve digestion, but also reinforce a positive connection between your body and brain. This practice can counteract the subtle stress responses that loneliness triggers, creating a calming feedback loop. Mindset matters too. Instead of approaching healthy eating as a punishment or obligation, view it as an act of self-care, a daily opportunity to give your brain and body what they need to feel balanced and resilient. Combining nutrition with movement, social interaction, and sleep enhances these benefits, creating a holistic approach to emotional and physical health. By treating food as both fuel and medicine, you can actively reduce the biological impact of loneliness. Over time, these intentional habits strengthen your mental clarity, stabilize your mood, and support a sense of emotional well-being, showing that even simple choices like what you eat can profoundly influence how connected and resilient you feel. Sometimes the smallest actions have the biggest impact. When it comes to loneliness, micro habits, tiny daily rituals can strengthen social bonds in ways that feel effortless but are profoundly effective. Sending a quick text to check in with a friend, sharing a genuine compliment with a colleague, or expressing gratitude to someone you care about are all simple acts that signal connection to your brain. Over time, these small gestures accumulate, creating a network of meaningful interactions that protect against isolation. The key is consistency, not intensity. You don't need to organize elaborate gatherings or have deep conversations every day. Even one thoughtful message or a brief moment of attention shows your brain and theirs that you are present, engaged, and connected. This repeated reinforcement helps recalibrate your brain's threat detection system, reducing hyperalertness and emotional strain caused by loneliness. Another practical approach is habit stacking. Link these micro habits to existing routines. For example, while your morning coffee brews, send a message to someone you care about. Or after finishing lunch, take a minute to reach out to a friend or family member. By pairing connection habits with established daily routines, they become automatic and sustainable rather than something you have to remember or force. Mindset plays a role too. Approach these small actions with curiosity and sincerity rather than obligation. Notice how it feels to brighten someone else's day or to genuinely engage, and allow that feedback to motivate the next habit. Over time, these consistent, intentional interactions not only reduce loneliness, but also enhance emotional resilience, self-esteem, and overall well-being. By focusing on micro habits, you create a practical, actionable strategy for connection. These tiny, daily investments in relationships compound over weeks and months, rewiring your brain to feel safer, more supported, and genuinely connected in ways that last. Loneliness may be the disease you can't catch, but that doesn't mean it's unstoppable. What we've seen is that even small, consistent actions, whether reaching out to someone, moving your body, practicing mindfulness, or nourishing your brain with healthy foods, can build lasting protection and strengthen both your mind and body. The key is consistency and intention. Choose one small habit today that helps you connect, recharge, or care for yourself, and let it grow into a daily practice. Over time, these simple steps compound, improving your resilience, boosting your emotional well-being, and helping you feel more connected to the world around you. Remember, change doesn't happen all at once, but every tiny action matters. You have the power to rewrite your experience of loneliness into one of growth, connection, and vitality. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the Dr. Mike channel for more science-backed, practical strategies to live healthier, stronger, and more fulfilled every day.